The traditional funnel is dead, and that's not me being dramatic, that's just a reality. And in this video, I'm going to explain why the traditional funnel is dying and what the system is that slowly is beginning to replace it. So let's get into it. So now I know that you already know how to sell, but you're probably tired of having to manually be selling to make calls, right? Think sales calls, think cold DMs or outbound messages all the time. You don't have to always be working to be able to make sales. You already get clients, but you don't want a system that takes you months and endless nurture sequences, automation, segmentation, whatever else it might be to get someone to buy. And also that you're getting traction when you push hard, but if you don't post, if you don't book calls, then you don't get paid, right? The business doesn't grow. Well, let's break down the two kind of standard ways that have been taught for you to scale your coaching business. Now, really, they fall under these two categories. You have bro scaling, you have babe scaling. Both kind of made up terms. I don't want to claim ownership to them, but they're both made up. Now, the bro scaling way, what does that include? Sales calls, pat calendar, big team, appointment setters, sales closers, you name it, as many people as possible to get the job done. Guarantees, lots of paid ads, cold DMs. Essentially, it's the pushy marketing, the Alex Hormozi style of like grind, and you'll be able to make some sales. The opposite side of that is, of course, babe scaling. Now, babe scaling is sales from landing pages, landing pages that are about 20 miles long, right? Take you days to read. Offer ladders, right? This idea of like low ticket offers that then people buy, and you kind of then buy in sequence each of those offers up to the high ticket one. Live launches, free masterclasses every month, memberships, school communities, all design marketing. It's all about vibes. It's all about good feelings, lifestyle, that side of stuff. And it's not that these don't work; they do, but they come at a cost, right? On the bro scaling side, very time consuming, very expensive with a team. The bottleneck typically is in your sales department, so you have to then start hiring people and so on. It just gets very expensive. You also become very removed from the business, right? If you've been going through that process yourself, you go from creating, coaching to then like managing the team, looking over spreadsheets, looking over data, and now you've got a desk job basically, and you never wanted that in the first place. Typically it works, like I said, bro scaling works, these both work, but it just feels icky. It feels very pushy compared to what it could do. And the type of clients you then get kind of reflect that, right? They're sort of unaligned, not the best types of clients, and that's obviously not what you want. Babe scaling on the other side of things, you tend to waste a lot of time spending your time on activities or pages or just, again, automations, things that actually don't even make a difference. The bottleneck typically comes in your delivery and or marketing. Again, because of the complexity, you're like managing all these different offers, different types of customers and people, and the marketing side, again, it's just all kind of all over the place. Again, it does require a big team to work. You get involved in the wrong areas, stress because of how complex it is, and it might feel good at times, but it doesn't really work. And it can also run the risk of being kind of too wishy-washy, too fluffy at times. Now, both work, like I said, but both also are becoming more and more inefficient and very soon are all but dead in the water, right? And it's because they both work in the same way. They use a funnel. And what I'm going to introduce to you isn't necessarily some kind of groundbreaking, never before seen way of doing it. Some people will even claim it is still some type of funnel. I don't believe it is because of how it works, which I'll explain in a second. But a traditional funnel in the funnel central I'm about to explain is dying. It is all but dead already. And so you're told to build a funnel, but the funnel as we know it is dying. Not because funnels don't work, they do, but because the market has changed. Okay, it's not that funnels somehow now were always wrong and never worked in the first place. It's because the people we are selling to have changed, right? We're in 2025. We are not at the start of the info product, info kind of industry anymore. The times have changed massively, and therefore the market, the people we sell to have changed as well. Now, your typical funnel, what's it designed to do? Your typical funnel is designed to take someone from unaware to most aware. What does that mean? Well, it means you're designing it to take a complete stranger who doesn't know you, and your job is to convince them of a few things. Your job is to convince them, number one, that they have a problem. Number one. Number two, you have to convince them that they actually have a different problem than the problem they thought they had. Then you have to convince them that the solution you provide, or the method, the path you teach, is the right method that they should follow to solve that problem. Then you have to convince them that you are the right person to help them implement that particular method or path to solve the problem. And so you see very quickly that your traditional funnel, there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through, there's a lot of sales you have to make along the way just to get someone to even consider buying from you. And again, it's not that this doesn't work, it's that times have changed. Okay, and so the majority of people in our industries now, the coaching industry, people you're selling to, they are no longer unaware, right? They are very much aware of their problems, they're actively looking for solutions, and they've been there before. They've seen the funnels, they've seen the guarantees, they've seen it all before. And so trying to do the traditional way of doing things doesn't work anymore. And look, if you want me to be completely honest, from what I've seen with people I've worked with, that idea that someone, a stranger who doesn't really know or care about you, comes into your funnel and then they go through it perfectly as it was designed over the course of weeks, days or months, however long it is, and then they buy from you, it's just delusional. Right? Plain and simple, it is simply just delusional. Because your funnel is leading them to a simple decision. It's either buy or die. Okay, and so your funnel, even though it sometimes might get some people, the majority of leads you have disappear. Majority of leads you have don't buy. And because of that and the way you're set up, they will never come back anyway. And so here are the bigger problems that we have then because of this. Number one, which I've just kind of touched on, you have a leaky funnel. And essentially all that means is that, let's say you have 1,000 people come into your funnel. Of that 1,000 people, you might convert one of them. Well, what about the other 999 people who came into that funnel? What happens to them? Well, again, most of the time, because it's a simple buy or die decision, these people never come back. They go elsewhere. And a lot of those people, they need a solution now, not later. So what are they going to do? Well, they just buy from someone else. The second point is that you're wasting time trying to convince people who aren't convinced or who never will be convinced. Again, that traditional funnel is trying to take a stranger, someone who's unaware, and completely convince them of all the things that I've just mentioned previously. And you waste a hell of a lot of time doing that. And there's so many people now in this space, in terms of consumers, people that will buy from you. You don't need to do that, right? It's like everyone else is doing that for you. In terms of like the problem-aware content, right? Make someone aware of their problem, all of that stuff. It's like, yeah, a couple of years back, probably you did need to do it. But now it's like there's so much of it around already that the majority of buyers in the marketplace, and good buyers, premium buyers, they know what their problem is, right? They don't need to be convinced of what their problem is. They're actively looking for a solution. So all that time you spend trying to educate someone on, this is your problem, right? You doing this, but actually your problem is this. It's like just wasted time, you know? And for the right buyer, they hear that, they see that, and they log off. They switch off, right? And they go somewhere else. The final point is that because of the way your funnel's designed, someone comes in, they go down this linear path, you're selling the same thing in the same way to everyone. And so what happens? Well, you're left in a position of offer fatigue. And so what happens then is that because someone's heard the offer already, and they hear it again and again and again, that every time you make the offer, they switch off more and more. And eventually people stop listening to you. People stop buying from you. And it's not because what you've got is bad. It's because you've been saying the same thing, offering it the same way, selling it the same way, marketing it the same way, and people just get bored of it, right? And so we have to change that. But it's your traditional funnel, you can't do that, right? Or at least it's very difficult to do it. And so if you've been running something like this, the bro scaling or the babe scaling way, or at least some version of that, you're probably having problems like this, right? You need a hell of a lot of people, again, made up number, but you need a hell of a lot of people just to convert a handful of them. You need all of these different funnels and automations and email sequences, again, segmentation and tags and unique offers and discount codes and deadlines and all of these things and hype and countdowns and scarcity just to get someone to buy. It's a hell of a lot of work, right? Or you're having to chase new leads, get new traffic, new followers all the time. You start to panic. If your page starts to lose followers or your content doesn't go as viral as it used to, you start to panic because you know that right now your business only grows or it only works if you're always flooding it with new people, right? And ultimately that's because you're trying to sell to people who are not ready to buy. You're selling to those who are unaware or just simply problem aware. And you're trying to convince people why they should care when in fact you want to attract people who already care. Okay? And so, fundamentally, a funnel, you are trying to create demand. But what I'm about to explain, we are designing to capture it instead. And that's where the idea of an engine, or my version of it is the no-call engine, because it's no sales calls. The engine is kind of the new way, the different way to get clients without using your traditional kind of funnel system. And for those who are going to say there is no difference, I'll explain the difference. It very simply comes down to two things. Number one, with an engine, you are not trying to attract people who do not know what their problem is. Okay, you are only focused on people already looking for a solution. So if I go back to the slide, this one, right? You look at those 5 stages of awareness. The funnel, it's unaware to most aware. The engine, it's solution aware to most aware. You completely cut out the first 2 stages of the awareness process, right? Because you don't need to target those people. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of content. A waste of your digital real estate, right? And so we only focus on solution aware onwards. That's who we market towards. That's the first big difference. The second big difference is that with an engine, you are not forcing a singular path or a very particular timeline on someone to buy from you. I'm talking about your core program, your core offers here. What you're doing is you're giving people a daily opportunity to work with you, but you are presenting that opportunity in different ways, different pain points, different goals, different methods, different symptoms, different reasons why now. Of course, there's a whole system behind that. The point is that a funnel is very simple. Unaware to completely aware. And how do we do that? Through one linear process. An engine is people who are already aware of their problems. They're looking for a solution, and we're giving them daily opportunities to buy from us, but we're presenting it in different ways. That's the difference between your funnel and your engine, okay? Now, what's the result of that? Pretty simple. One client, this is my example, one client had joined me recently, and they had been following me for quite a while, right? About 4 months, give or take, because I asked people when they joined, like, when did you find me, stuff like that. And they first saved one of my posts, it was like 4 months ago, right? Another client found me, binged and joined within 24 hours. Now, the engine made that possible. Your traditional funnel would have lost both of them, right? Both of these clients who joined, your traditional funnel would not have got these clients, because your traditional funnel, what would have happened? Well, with the first person, they found me, but they wasn't ready to buy, right? It took them a little bit of time to get ready. But my traditional funnel, well, it would have forced them to try and buy something probably within 30 days or within 60 days, right? 90 days at a push. But they weren't ready until 4 months later, right? And it's like a funnel, there's only so much you can do to try and convince someone to buy now instead of later. If someone's not ready, someone's not ready. And especially premium buyers, they do not get manipulated by urgency, fake countdowns and deadlines and these types of things. So you have to be ready for when they're ready. It's not the other way around. You don't make them ready. You need to be ready to accept them when they are ready. There are things you can do to try to speed that process up, but ultimately, you don't have control over that. That's the reality. And the other client, the one who found me binged and joined within 24 hours, well, the traditional funnel, well, there would be no chance. The traditional funnel would still be trying to convince them what their problem actually is, right? And when you look at it like this, you realize how stupid it is. You realize how stupid it is to try and force someone to consume 60 days of emails from you, to consume videos and to go through a predetermined timeline. It's like most people click on your videos or save a video and don't even go back to it. Most people opt in for your VSL, don't even watch it the first time, right? They opt in for it multiple times and then they still don't even watch it. Then eventually they do. Most people join your email list and unsubscribe the first chance they get. Most people download your lead magnet and never bloody use it, right? And so when you understand that this is the reality of the online space at the moment, your traditional funnel doesn't cut it anymore. And so if you're having all of these problems of lack of lead flow, or you're getting leads but it's not converting, Your income's up and down, right? You have no real control over when people buy or when they don't buy and so on. It's probably because you're relying too much on an outdated way of selling, right? And especially with AI, ChatGPT, all of these things now, people can get answers and solutions instantly, right? So again, the desire and need for coaching anyway, in a general sense, is already going down. So you pair that with a funnel that takes 90 days to convince someone, or however long, it's a recipe for disaster. And so, the no-call engine. And I want to speak about engines in general, not necessarily the way I do it, but just in general, an engine model. Why is it better? Predictable daily leads, because you're always doing something every day to get leads, right? And you can do that. Leads you then do get are pre-sold, ready to buy, typically have less or even no objections. Again, because they're a high quality lead, already know what their problems are, actively looking for a solution, they've been there and done it, they're ready to buy. No sales calls needed if you don't want to. You can do it if you want to, but you don't have to. No closers or appointment setters. I get messages all the time from setters trying to offer me their services. I don't need a setter because people come to me and they're ready to buy. And again, that's possible because of the engine and how it's designed. It keeps people circulating through your marketing, through your assets, through your ecosystem all the time. So then you are always top of mind for that person, and you're always educating them on you, your ideas, your mechanism, your methods, and so on. Less conversations with unqualified leads, attraction-based sales, right? So you're attracting the higher quality clients, and also it's very adaptable. It's like a jet ski. You can change direction and kind of do things quickly. Funnels are like a cruise ship. They take a hell of a long time to turn around, or in a marketing sense, a hell of a long time to fix, to update, and to change things. And so I had a client worth mentioning, Alejandro. You can go and find him on IG, and he was, about 8K months. And really the big change we made was his sales process. He was doing sales calls, outbound DMs, a hell of a lot of those types of things. And essentially just all we done was we helped to implement the engine model to his business. And he went from 8K to 35K months within the space of 2 to 3 months. And that's not because of any crazy change, apart from the fact that we implemented the engine model. He already had leads, right? He already had people there wanting to work with him. We just simply changed it from having to go through all of these hoops and all of these steps to have to buy from him or go through a funnel and an email sequence to simply implementing the engine model, and he went from 8K to 35K months. That's the power of it, right? And most of you are sat on that potential for growth, but you're not unlocking it because you're stuck selling in a way that's outdated. And so if you want more information on this engine model, the specific one that I use, I have another video down below this video in the description that explains the engine model and also the 2 other systems that I use to get high-ticket clients without sales calls and to scale without needing a sales team, without needing setters, closers, or having a calendar packed for the sales calls. So if you want to watch and listen and hear more about that, click the link down below. Otherwise, I hope at the very least this video has got you thinking about other ways to manage your sales system and also just to recognize and see that what used to work a few years ago, what maybe you invested in, what you learned from a coach, what I learned from a coach, years ago, just unfortunately doesn't work anymore. Times are changing very quickly. I'm sure we can all see it. And you have to have a system in your marketing, in your sales, and delivery to be adaptable and to very quickly make changes. But more importantly, the overall idea here is you need to be ready to accept a client now rather than having to force them through some kind of funnel that gets them ready. The right people that you want to work with are already out there. They're already ready to buy. You just have to learn how to make content, how to build an engine system to attract that person and get them to buy from you rather than the other person next door. Okay, that's it. Hopefully you found this video useful. Like I said, check out the other video in the description down below. Otherwise, appreciate your time, enjoy your day, and I'll see you in the next one.